Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Modern Warfare 3. For some time now, I've wanted to discuss the original maps from Modern Warfare 2 that were recreated here for this game, because over time, some of those fantastic maps from back in the day really aged like milk, going from 2009 up to 2023 and 2024. Like, some of those maps that may have been fantastic back in the OG game just really don't play all that well, in my opinion, here within Modern Warfare 3, whereas other maps that maybe were a bit under the radar, maybe some maps from the OG Modern Warfare 2 the fans didn't really care about that much, some of those maps really had a glow up. I mean, those aged like wine, whereas other maps aged like milk. And today, we're going to hop on a trend from a couple of years ago that everybody, let's face it, got sick of pretty quickly, which is going to be the tier list video, though I'm going to try my best not to make it too dry for you guys. So, we're going to have the standard setup here, your S tier, A tier, B tier, C, and D. S tier being the absolute best, A being above average, B just basically being average, C being below average, and D being the absolute worst of the maps that we have. And here are just going to be the standard maps that launched with Modern Warfare 3, all 16 of the original OG Modern Warfare 2 maps. First things first, we have Afghan here. This has always been a great map in my opinion, and here in Modern Warfare 3, A tier, absolutely. Now, keep in mind, going forward here, I'm not talking about niche specific game modes like Search and Destroy, for example. One map might be terrible for respawn, but might be fantastic for Search and Destroy. I'm basically just going off general vibes here of the maps, general respawn game modes, team deathmatch, kill confirmed, domination, hardpoint, and things like that. And for me personally, Afghan was fantastic back in 2009, and I love it just as much here in 2024. It's one of the better maps to ever come out. But the next map here on the list, Derail. D tier, man. I mean, I talked about some maps that aged like wine and had a bit of a glow up. Derail is not that. It does look nice. I will say it's nice to look at the map. Aesthetically, it's very different compared to a lot of the other maps that we have in Modern Warfare 3. But let's just face it, man. The map is way too damn big. In 6v6, it's an absolute snooze fest. If you play in 10v10 and 12v12, it's not nearly as bad, but everyone on the other team is generally just going to be sniping anyway. It's really not that fun of a map. It's one of the worst in the game, in my opinion. And let's be honest here. If you jump into a lobby and the next map that you're loading into is Derail, are you staying in that lobby? Chances are no, right? That's why it's D tier. Next up here, we have Estate. That is a solid B in my opinion. Estate is one of those maps that back in Modern Warfare 2, I liked it because of the theme. I liked holding down the cabin. I liked those heart-pounding matches that we would have of demolition, trying to get the final bomb site inside of the cabin. That was ridiculously hard. By the way, the best way to go about that would be to place tack inserts in the basement where the other team didn't know where you were coming from. But of course, we can't just tack insert every single life here within Modern Warfare 3, so there are times where Estate kind of feels bad, but overall, it's a pretty good map in my opinion, and I think it's the perfect example of an average map, whereas Afghan would be your above average, and then one of your worst maps would be Derail. Next up here, we have Favela. I'm gonna rustle some jimmies here. C tier. I'm going to say it's below average. Favela is one of those maps, and I'm trying to go just solely off a respawn here, but Favela is one of those maps that's pretty good for game modes like Search and Destroy. Not as much fun, in my opinion, in game modes like Domination or Hardpoint. Like, all the people camping up on top of rooftops, melting you with MCWs, it does not really play all that well. Back in 2009, it is hands down one of my favorite maps, but as the community has evolved and how the game has shifted over all these years, I just don't find Favela to be that fun of a map. Mostly, you're just getting shot from rooftops, and that just kind of gives you more of a Warzone vibe as compared to a multiplayer vibe. So for me personally, below average, not as bad as Derail or anything like that, but definitely not one of the better maps in the game. Another opinion here, I know people aren't going to like it, Highrise. Throwing it right there at C tier as well with Favela. This is one of the OGs, one of the greatest maps that everyone remembers from Modern Warfare 2. It was so good, it was so fantastic. Well, what they did here in Modern Warfare 3 is they pretty much butchered it because they don't want little Timmy being spawn trapped. I just have to say it, man. I mean, the map itself virtually plays the same. The lines of sight are virtually the same. The map still looks beautiful. You still have all the same spots. Like, Highrise is fantastic. Everyone knows it. Everyone loves it. Everybody remembers it. But what they did to it here in Modern Warfare 3 makes it not that much fun to play. Have you ever played Domination on Highrise? How many times have you just randomly died and suddenly you're spawning on the opposite end of the map for virtually no reason? Or maybe if you get a little bit too close to the A flag, suddenly the entire enemy team is now spawning on the C flag, and it's a bunch of chaos now. The new spawn system they have in this game is honestly garbage when it comes to a lot of the maps here, and as a result, Highrise, in my opinion, is C tier now. It used to be an A tier map, but the spawns that they gave it here in Modern Warfare 3 have lowered it down to C, in my own personal opinion. Next up here, we have Invasion. absolute D tier. D tier map. I'm not even gonna go too long with this. I never liked Invasion back in Modern Warfare 2. I don't like it now in Modern Warfare 3. How many times are you playing Domination or Hardpoint or whatever, and people are just sitting inside of the castle the entire match? You're basically not allowed to go down any of the streets or anything like that. There's always snipers sitting in windows, or just people don't move on that map. It's too condensed. It's kind of like an ant farm, and it's crazy because initially Invasion was going to be a map that was going to come out with the only DLC pack that came out for Call of Duty 4, but it got pushed back. Favela and Invasion initially were going to be COD 4 maps, but they got pushed back into Modern Warfare 2. Kind of a fun fact there, but I didn't like it back in the OG Modern Warfare 2. I don't like it here within Modern Warfare 3. Therefore, Invasion is D tier. Next up here, we have Karachi. Absolute B tier in my opinion, and that's a glow up for me because back in OG Modern Warfare 2, I didn't like Karachi really at all. I really did not care for that map whatsoever, and they did change a couple of things about the layout here in this game, which for better or worse make the map feel a little bit different. But overall, I think Karachi is actually an average map. It's not too bad. It's not an amazing map by any stretch of the imagination, but if this were a Modern Warfare 2 tier list, I would have had that at C or D tier easily. But here in Modern Warfare 3, Karachi gets a B. Next up here, we have Quarry. That is an A tier map in my opinion. Absolutely love Quarry. It's just one of those maps that is like damn near perfect in a lot of ways. It's not S tier, but it's pretty good at what it does. Whatever game mode you're playing, Quarry is fun, and it doesn't have the same issues that Favela has, even though it has a lot of the elevation that Favela has, which is kind of weird. I think it's mostly because a lot of the rooftops are very crucial to playing on Favela, whereas all the rocks and buildings you can get on top of in Quarry are a bit more spread out. I'm not entirely sure, but the layout of the map is always fantastic. Fighting for the B flag in the very center of the quarry itself is really fun, and having the elevation of the giant like 3-story building and being able to see across the entirety of the map, like there's a lot of interesting sight lines to the map. There's lots of interesting flank routes and rush routes, because while it can be technically classified as like a 3-lane map, there's really a lot more rushing routes on this map and ways to flank than you would expect. And for somebody like me that likes to run around with a submachine gun or an assault rifle, Quarry is a fantastic map and I definitely enjoy it. Next up here, we have Rundown. I'm going to go ahead and say Rundown is C tier. I'm not going to say it's D, although I kind of want to make it D tier. I'm going to say because if you play in game modes like 10v10 or 12v12, the map is actually fantastic, and in 6v6 it can be fun. It just really depends on the people in your lobby. There are times where everyone is just sniping and nobody's moving and it's not fun whatsoever, but then there's other times when people actually move and then Rundown actually can kind of shine a little bit. So I'm going to say it's an average map. It's probably one of the worst of the average maps, but it definitely is a bit better here in Modern Warfare 3 than it was back in the OG Modern Warfare 2, at least in my opinion. Next up here, we have Rust. I mean, okay, a lot of people are going to say Rust is like S tier. Oh my god, it's Rust, 1v1 beyond Rust. It's D tier, man. Rust is a garbage map. It is a meat grinder map. You guys know me. I don't like maps like that where you're just spawning behind people and shooting them. People are spawning behind you and shooting you. It's not fun for me anymore. Like, it's brainless COD. It's junk food COD. If you like that, then you're probably going to make it an A tier or a B tier or maybe an S tier or whatever. But for me, D tier. I never really liked Rust. I mean, maybe back in the day because you wanted to get a bunch of kills really quickly, level up your guns, level up yourself, prestige, back when prestige actually meant something. But in a game like Modern Warfare 3 that has like half a dozen tiny meat grinder maps, I would argue Rust is probably the worst of them. So it's a D tier map in my opinion. Next up here, we have Scrapyard. S tier. I don't think I need to say too much about it. Scrapyard has withstood the test of time. It's been recreated in several Call of Duty games. It has been one of the best maps that they have ever created, and it's really fun to play even to this day within Modern Warfare 3. Next up, we have Skid Row. Also S tier. Holy hell. I always thought Skid Row was kind of like an average map back in the OG Modern Warfare 2, but something about it here within Modern Warfare 3 is so much fun. I love running around on this map. It's a lot more close quarters, I think, than a lot of the other maps that launched with the game, and as such, maybe that's why I like it, because you can play with a submachine gun, you can play with a shotgun a bit better on this map as compared to how you can play with them on other maps. I don't know. For me, Skid Row has been fantastic. There's a couple of points, like in Hardpoint, and especially Control, where you have that second story window. You guys know what I'm talking about. That room that has the hard point and the control point. That thing is a pain in the ass to actually take, but other than that, that map is absolutely fantastic in my opinion. Next up, we have Subbase, A tier. Subbase has always been a fantastic map. It was great back in 2009. It's great here in 2024. I'm a big fan overall. You can play any game mode on this map and have fun. It also lends itself to a lot of different play styles as compared to other maps in the game, so easy choice for me. A tier for Subbase. I don't think that's too controversial of an opinion. Now, speaking of controversial opinions, we have Terminal. That's a D tier map in my opinion, man. Terminal is straight up not fun for me in normal respawn game modes, and here's the reason why. Here is going to be the layout of Terminal. Here is going to be the middle of Terminal, and basically nobody is allowed to cross that line. You guys know how it goes, man. The Call of Duty player base has been conditioned to just not move thanks to Infinity Ward, and now if you want to run into the gift shop, there are going to be 2 or 3 people staring at the gift shop. If you want to go towards Burger Town, there's going to be 2 or 3 people staring towards Burger Town, regardless of what side of the map you're playing on. If you're over there more towards Fragrance, towards the window where you can jump outside and go towards the airplane, there's always going to be people sitting behind the desk or just turning the corner and trying to light you up. There is no rushing, there is no flanking. It's literally a stalemate map. It's not fun to play in my opinion. Like, I do not like Terminal at all. Like, do I love the look? Yes. Do I love the aesthetic? Yes. Do I love my memories of Terminal from 2009 when the player base wasn't as campy and wasn't as sweaty? Yes, I love all of those things, but when I play the map here within Modern Warfare 3, it is always a stalemate to the point where you might as well just whip out a sniper rifle or an assault rifle and just hold down the sight line, because nobody moves on this map in respawn game modes, and therefore, for me personally, it is a D tier map. It's not as bad as Rust, but I can't adjust these things. Oh, apparently I can adjust these things. There we go. So I would actually say Terminal is better than Invasion. I would say Derail, I would honestly have more fun on than Terminal. Like, if I had to rank the D tier maps, I mean, Derail, then Terminal, then Invasion, then Rust is how I would personally go there. Like, for me personally, Terminal is just not that fun. Underpass. A tier map. Underpass has been fantastic, solidly and consistently for me since the game came out, man. I'm telling you what, I think Underpass had one of the best glow-ups of all the maps from the OG Modern Warfare 2, because back then, like, if you got into a lobby, you know, you're searching for Dom, you're searching for TDM, or wherever the hell it is you were playing back in 2009, and Underpass was the next map coming up, you're probably like, what? Why did people vote for Underpass? Like, I'm just gonna back out. Like, who wants to play Underpass, for crying out loud? Here in Modern Warfare 3, I don't know if it's the weapons that we have, or how the community has evolved, or the movement, or whatever it might be. Maybe the visibility maybe being a bit better with the newer lighting and all that. I don't know, but regardless, Underpass has been consistently fun for me personally since the game came out. It is one of those maps that I did not like at all back in 2009, yet I love here in 2024. It's weird. It aged like wine in my opinion, whereas maps like Terminal and Rust and Invasion have aged like absolute milk. And finally, here we have Wasteland. It's a B tier map in my opinion. It's not good, it's not bad, it's kind of average. It's one of those maps where you can occasionally have really fun matches because the sight lines are so long and open on this map that if the other team isn't paying attention, or if they're not that good, or your shot is on or whatever, you just start mopping people up and it feels really damn good. But on the flip side of things, it's a giant field with a giant bush wall in the middle of it, essentially, and then if you try to turn the corner, there's probably 2 or 3 people trying to take your picture with their freaking sniper rifles, and I don't know, sometimes the map's fun, sometimes it's not. It's an average map overall in my opinion. And ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. There's going to be my final tier list here for the OG Modern Warfare 2 maps that were recreated here within Modern Warfare 3. How do you guys think I did? Leave your thoughts and feedback on my rankings down there in the comments. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.